Welcome to Table for 92, element number 38, Strontium. It's number 38 because it has exactly 38 protons within its nucleus. For Strontium, we're cooking up some Scottish mussels because Strontium is most commonly found in seafood and was first discovered in Scotland. Strontium is closely related to calcium. As you can see, they're table buddies in row 2. Strontium, like calcium, is a metal, and it is not found in a pure state in nature, but strontium is actually quite abundant. It's the 15th most abundant element in Earth's crust. And again, like calcium, strontium gets deposited in our bones and teeth when we ingest strontium from food and drink. The most common place to find strontium in foods is seafood, as I said before, but it's also found in drinking water, whole milk, wheat bran, and a bunch of other stuff. Strontium would be discovered by the famed chemist Humphrey Davy in 1808. He actually discovered 4 alkaline earth elements that year: calcium, magnesium, barium, and strontium. Humphrey Davy was an absolute legend. He would discover 7 elements through his career and was so heralded for his discoveries that he was made a baronet in the British aristocracy, the first time a scientist was so honored. He also was the first person to experiment with nitrous oxide, which he did on himself, and found that it made him laugh, naming it laughing gas. Man, I miss the days when scientists would just recklessly use experimental drugs on themselves. Anyway, strontium was discovered along with magnesium, calcium, and barium by electrolysis before electrolysis was used to remove hair from unwanted areas. Electrolysis helps to break down the binds elements have with certain minerals. While strontium was isolated by Davy, the actual mineral in which strontium was found in Strontium, Scotland in 1790. Strontium is on the west coast of Scotland and had been involved in lead mining for a long time before. Adair Crawford found a rock from the lead mines that was quite peculiar and determined it to be an undiscovered mineral and named it Strontium. The name Strontium, the town, comes from the Scottish Gaelic. It means nose of the fairy hill, apparently the name of a nearby hill. Just a cool name for a town. And while 23 of the elements were discovered in Great Britain, strontium is the only element actually named after a place on the island. Strontium's first use in industry actually was in food processing. Strontium hydroxide was used throughout the 19th century and into the 20th century to extract sugar from sugar beets. This was a big deal in Europe at the time, since up until then, sugar had only previously been found in sugar cane, and that only grows in tropical areas. Sugar beets, on the other hand, can grow in Northern Europe, way outside the tropics. For a lot of people, especially those who grew up during the 50s and 60s, when we were blowing up nuclear bombs like once a week, they've heard of strontium because of its radioactive isotope Strontium-90, which gets released during nuclear testing. Like, strontium by itself is not radioactive, it's fine, but I think we can all agree that it was kind of a bad idea that, we as humans detonated something like 2,000 nukes in the 50s and 60s, because many of those were atmospheric and released the dangerous Strontium-90 all over the world, and Strontium-90 gets into our food systems and is most dangerous when ingested. Thankfully, Strontium-90 has a quick half-life, only 29 years, so it degrades halfway into Yttrium-90 every 29 years. But, still a bad idea, especially since Strontium-90 helped to release Godzilla. Yeah. In the movies, Strontium-90 is found in the footprints of Godzilla by scientists, which proved Godzilla was awakened by an underwater hydrogen bomb test. For me, though, the most fascinating part of strontium is how it's used in paleoanthropology, in studying human fossils. Strontium can tell us where and how ancient human species moved around throughout their lifetimes, giving us important clues to early human migration. Strontium gets deposited in our teeth through the foods we eat. And, teeth, they're basically rocks. They're like 98% minerals. So those searching for human fossils, fossilized teeth are going to be way more common than bones. Bones are much softer and will degrade faster. Fossils are rare to begin with, and human fossils even more so, especially when you're searching for really old human fossils, because human populations were much, much smaller when we were all hunter-gatherers. And the chance of a bone fossilizing, it's incredibly rare. Like, we say 1 in a million, or 1 in a billion. So when paleoanthropologists and archaeologists are out in the field looking for fossils, animals, we know the chance of finding something is pretty small. Like, we get super excited when we find a single tooth. The strontium that is found in foods gets deposited in the teeth. So you find these strontium isotopes, they really vary a lot throughout different environments, and that information gets uploaded to the teeth via the strontium isotopes. So by analyzing the strontium isotopes, you can actually map out the movement of an individual throughout their lifetime based on the foods they were eating on the landscape. This is a really important tool to trace the movement of an individual and large populations. Like, I've always studied more about the paleo stuff, really old humans, but strontium analysis has also been helpful in studying mass movements of people throughout prehistory and history. What's funny to me with strontium analysis on teeth is that in our modern world economy, we get food from all over the place. Like, these mussels are from the Jersey Shore. This bread is probably from wheat grown in a whole bunch of different places. So the strontium signature that will get deposited in my teeth is from all over the world. It's safe to say the strontium analysis of modern day people would be of no use to scientists in the future. Thank you. See you next time. Please like and subscribe. It's easy. It helps me. Doesn't really help you, but it helps me.